Welcome back to the Noble Motherhood podcast, where we share real and vulnerable stories about motherhood and our challenge to become more like Christ in every season. Welcome, friends. If you are new to the podcast, if you tuned in perhaps last episode with Lindsay Baumgren with Nourish Move Love, or tuned in a really long time ago and are just now picking back up listening, I just want to say welcome to all the new listeners who have carved out a little bit of your time to listen to today's topic. I wanted to jump into talking about some of the myths / controversial subject matters when it comes to infancy, newborn stage, really in particular. And before I jump into all of that, I wanted to first, again, thank you for being here. And this month, I have been really, really honored to share my postpartum ebook with many women who are seeking to have a comprehensive but simple guide to lead them through that fourth trimester, that beautiful postpartum season that is beautiful but very messy also. And so if you are listening, if you are pregnant or know of someone who is pregnant, I really want to give that ebook, continue to give it away for free. It is completely free on our site, noblemotherhood.com right now. So you can head on over there, even now, pause this podcast episode, head on over to noblemotherhood.com, and you just go ahead and check out. You don't even have to enter in a credit card information or anything. Just go ahead and it will lead you through the checkout prompts, and then you will have immediate download access to the 30-page ebook. That ebook was a passion project of my heart, and it will continue to evolve over the years as I plan to grow that resource. But for now, it's a 30-page ebook, and it is chock full with all the information that I have gained as a mom over the last 5.5 years, going through 3 postpartum seasons, and tangibly seeing the difference from my first postpartum experience to my third postpartum experience. Night and day difference. And I attribute it all to just learning along the way, listening to the wisdom and advice of other moms. And I have created the ebook with all of my heart and soul poured into it, wanting other moms to be fully equipped to have a peaceful and restful fourth trimester also. So if that at all triggers something in you to buy it for yourself or for a friend, please head on over to noblemotherhood.com right now and grab it, because it is free right now. All right. So getting back to today's topic, I don't know. I don't feel hesitant to share about these controversial subject matters, but I do want to preface it in saying that I don't come from the place, like I don't come across as knowing it all. I don't want you listening to this thinking she thinks she just knows it all, because I don't. But I definitely have learned many things over the years that have led to my own personal opinions on some of these things. But then there is an open canvas also for motherhood, for moms, for us to acknowledge that the Lord has designed you and designed me differently, and we're going to mother in different ways. We're going to make different decisions for our children. And that is God's design. Like, I don't just want to sit here and say, oh, that's okay. No, I want to sit here and tell you that that's literally God's design, that you mother your children in the way that they need to be mothered, and I mother my children in the way that I feel like they need to be mothered. And it's It's a beautiful thing. And so when I jump into these controversial / like myths, in my opinion, some of them, just hear me out in that we have our God-given intuition to make decisions for our children or in this season of life that we're in. We have that intuitiveness. And I'm really passionate about talking about a mother's intuition because it's something that I was lacking in my first year of being a mom, really. With our first son, I really lacked knowing that I had the ability to tap into my motherly intuition. I was just flying by the seat of my pants, trying to follow anyone's advice of, should I do this? Should I do that? Without really stopping and praying first and asking the Lord what I should have done in that situation, what I should have done about X, Y, and Z, whatever it was. So I understand what it's like to go from not leaning into intuition and what it's like to lean into it. All right. So jumping into number one, I want to talk about co-sleeping with your baby, because I do feel like it is controversial and not necessarily a myth, but like it's definitely controversial. So co-sleeping, I believe that you need to make the absolute best decision for you, your spouse, and your baby. I did not co-sleep with our first son, and now being on the other side of it and co-sleeping with our 2 other boys for a time, I can 1,000% say that I wish I had known that I could have co-slept with our infant in those early months of postpartum. I wish that I had known that if I nursed my baby on my side, that I could have gotten better sleep, that I would have felt more connected to my baby, that things would have been a lot more peaceful. I wish I would have known that you can co-sleep safely. I wish I had known the benefits, the emotional, spiritual, physical benefits of keeping your baby as close as possible for their heart rate, for mama's heart rate, for our nervous systems. It is absolutely proven that a baby's heartbeat syncs up with their mama's heartbeat. If I'm saying that correctly, a baby is deeply soothed by being close to their mother. And so I wish I had known that. And so I'm all for co-sleeping. Now I with our second son and our third son, we put baby into bed with us safely until they were about 2 or 3 months old. And then I transitioned them into their crib bassinet. And really, honestly, like I always would start them out in their bassinet. And if they were really fussy and weren't doing well, then I would bring them into bed with me so that I could still sleep. And nursing them on my side was an absolute lifesaver and game changer. And I just want to like yell it from the rooftops to any mom to just nurse on your side. There's nothing like it in the middle of the night, nursing your baby on your sides, and you still being able to rest in bed, not sitting up straight in bed. Like it wakes you up even more than just putting your baby in bed with you and nursing on your side. So I highly, highly recommend trying that out if that's something that you're curious about. There is learning curves to it. It's not like you got it one night. Like there's definitely a learning curve to it. And there are multiple YouTube videos out there that you can watch and glean. What is that word? glean from as to how to do it. That's what I did. I just looked up YouTube videos, like side nursing with my baby in bed, really. And maybe I should create one of those videos on my YouTube channel one day. But okay, so that's number one, controversial subject matter I want to talk about. Number two is belly sleeping for your baby. I want you to, and this is really a myth, belly sleeping versus back sleeping with your baby, swaddled, because swaddles, let's just combine swaddling in there, okay? My boys, I never swaddled them. I think we swaddled them for like the first week or 2 weeks of life, and then it's just a hot mess. Like I don't enjoy swaddling. My boys never did well with it. And I know everyone was like, well, you need to swaddle tighter and try a different swaddle. To be honest with you, with my third son a year ago, he's a year now, there was a time when I was like, you know what? I want to try swaddling. I'm going to see if it works for him. And if it does, great. You know what happened? I swaddled him. And with the pacifier, you swaddle your baby. It was during the day for one of his naps. And I put the pacifier in his mouth and I sat on our bed watching him. And I literally started crying because this thought kept not nagging, but this thought continuously came to my mind of, this is not natural. This is not natural. This is not natural. And yes, my other two sons prior, I never swaddled them. I think I was just in a place of wanting to try it with our third to see if he would take to it, because I was kind of desperate for him to sleep a little bit better for, I don't know, whatever reason. But I kept thinking this is not natural. And tears were just streaming down my face. And the pacifier kept coming out, right? Because they have to suck on their pacifier to soothe themselves. And then once they're asleep, the pacifier falls out and then they wake back up crying. And I'm so glad that with all three of my boys, I didn't follow the typical, you should swaddle, you should lay them on their back. Because if I didn't follow my intuition, I think that there would have been a lot more frustration. And yes, there was still a lot of frustrations, a lot of sleepless nights, all of that. But I had peace of mind knowing that having them sleep on their bellies, it brought me a lot of peace and comfort knowing that they were sleeping better. And if spit up, for example, if they were spitting up, they would not be able to choke on their spit up, basically. It would just come, if they're on their belly, it would just come out of their mouth onto the sheet of their bassinet. Plus, sleeping your baby on their belly, if they have extra gas that's building up, sleeping on your belly is so good for getting out extra gas for a baby. And then the last point I want to make with belly sleeping that I think is such a big myth in the medical world is that baby comes out, baby's born, they immediately put baby on mama's chest. So what position is that? Baby is on their belly on mama's chest. Baby's not laid on their back on mommy's chest. Baby's on their belly. So the very first position that a baby takes is on their belly. So why is it such a controversial subject matter to do belly sleeping with a baby? And I understand, let me go back. I understand the concern of putting a baby on their belly if they can't turn their head. Absolutely. I never put my babies on their bellies until they were about 3 or 4 weeks old, when they could lift up their head and turn it side to side securely. They were strong enough to do that. And I knew they could do it and they were fine. Okay? So that first 3 weeks or 4 weeks of their life, they were on their back. Then I turn them over, and they all were belly sleepers from that point forward. So I just want to preface it that in saying that, yes, I do believe that there is a safety issue with baby being on their belly before their neck is completely strengthened. But the myth of belly sleeping being unsafe is it's hysterical to me, to be honest, because of the point that I just made. It was that baby comes out and lays on mommy's chest on their belly. It's so good for them. And it's the most comfortable position, I think, for most babies. All right. So we covered co-sleeping, we covered belly sleeping, and we covered swaddles. Once again, this is one of the issues where like you do what you feel best as a mom. Like if you're all about swaddling and your baby takes to it really well, do it. But I also want to bring to the surface today the truth behind a baby. A baby has their reflex for a reason. And when baby is constricted in a swaddle, they're not learning how to kind of sleep through and move through their reflexes. And now if baby's on their belly, there is so much less disturbance with their reflexes. Now, if you think about the reality of this, it's amazing. It's amazing how if you're sleeping baby on their belly, when they're having those natural newborn infant reflexes, where they like flail their arms on their belly, they're not disturbed like that. They're not disturbed like they are on their back, if you think about it. So I kind of want to bring that to the surface just to think about. I want you to think about it. If you're a new mom, even second time, third time mom, fourth time mom, like you don't have to do the exact same thing that you've always done. You can change it up. If you have a different belief system, core value, different intuition about your child, you can change things up. You're not locked into any box here, okay? All right. The next one I want to cover is very controversial, but I do want to touch on it for a second, and it is vaccines. So I have been a mom for 5.5 years, and yes, I'm going to just state this out loud. Our boys are not vaxxed at all. We decided with our first son that my husband basically left it up to me. He was kind of 50-50 on the topic back then. And I had very strong beliefs about vaccines and the ingredients that are in them, the harm that they do to the human body, the disturbance of the natural rhythms of the way God created the human body. Okay. We're not going to go into all the science part of that. You can do your own research, but I chose the route for our boys to not have them receive any, zero, zilch. And I'm at peace with that. I'm complete peace with that. And I have gotten so many, over the years, I've probably got a handful of friend moms ask me, have you vaccinated? And I will tell them, I'll give them my answer, and then I will always leave them with this. If you feel like your child needs a certain vaccine, do it. If you have that motherly intuition that your child needs a certain vaccine, follow that intuition. Maybe one child you felt like they don't need any. With another child, you feel like they need one. Like follow that intuition. All right. Last one I do want to talk about is sleep training. And this could be a whole podcast episode in and of itself, but I do want to talk about it a little bit here. I want to break apart the myth, the controversial matter that sleep training is doing harm to your child. I really need you to hear this as friend to friend. Sleep training, in whatever form you decide to whatever form you decide, sleep training your little one is not going to harm them. I promise you. Even if you do it, even if you regret, let's just put it that way, like I do, I regret a little bit of the way that we sleep trained our first son. Did it harm him long term? No, it did not. He is fine. But I do regret a little bit of the way that we did it with him. But we corrected that with our second son. And then our third son was like our best sleeper, and it's that one is a multifaceted, I think. Just, I had learned so much that I think by the time we had our third son, it came really naturally to me to let go of the control that my baby had to sleep through the night by a certain time. I just let go of it all. And he was our best sleeper. I was very at peace, very calm through the whole experience. We never did cry it out. With him, he just started sleeping through the night at some point, like I think 7 or 8 months old. And it was a very natural process with him. So I want to debunk the myth that sleep training is going to do harm to your child. I stand on a principle. I have stood on this for a very long time, that when baby is getting sleep, mom is getting sleep, the whole entire household is getting sleep. Everyone is a lot happier. And I think we can all agree on that. But I think that sometimes certain things can get in the way of us just taking the plunge and helping our baby. And by baby, I mean 6 months plus. Okay, hear me out. I mean like 6 or 7 months onward. That's what I mean. When they're starting to eat solids, getting fuller bellies, not nursing as much. That's what I mean by that point in time of sleep training. Now, everyone may not agree with this, and that's totally fine. But I do believe that when everyone gets sleep in the home, it brings life and enrichment to the home and to the family. So I'm a huge advocate for sleep and guiding your little one, your baby, to sleep longer and longer and longer stretches until finally they're sleeping through the night and they're doing great, So I pray that all of these myths / controversial subject matters were an encouragement to you. If by happenstance, if you're like, I want to dive a little bit deeper into one of these, please email me at hope@noblemotherhood.com. I would love to converse with you and talk to you more if you have questions. So please feel free to just reach out if you are in desperate need to have more input and wisdom and prayer, honestly, into one of these, because I understand completely, especially as a first-time mom. I understand where you're at. And even seasoned moms who have multiple children, we're relearning all over again with each child. So it's not we have multiple children, and so we have it all together. Absolutely not. We have to learn it, processes all over again with multiple kids. So it's all part of it. It's all part of life and learning and growing as we go. So I pray that this episode blessed you. And if you have any questions, please email me and I would love to talk to you. Until next time, friends. Bye.